What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. I know it has been forever since I've uploaded a vlog style video and I apologize. I've been super busy and I'm getting back to it. The weather's been crappy too, so I haven't really been feeling like going out and driving the R8 and doing R8 stuff and car stuff in general. But even though today is a little bit rainy, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try my hardest to get the R8 down my driveway into the garage, and we're gonna try to swap out the O2 sensor and the spark plugs. So let's check out the driveway and even see if this is doable to get the R8 into the garage. We just keep the SQ7 parked here. Even though the RS5 can make it down the driveway, it scrapes a little bit. So we just park this one here. But okay, so I don't know if you guys remember when I had the GTR. I mean, I would get it up and down the driveway, but you can still see scratches in my driveway from the GTR going in and out. Like I said, the RS5 can make it, but it does scratch. The R8, there's no way, and the R8's been lowered. So I'm gonna pull out the SQ7, and I'm gonna try to bring in the R8. So the back seems like I can get the back in, but here's the part where I'm having some trouble. Let me show you the front. We are so close. And then look over here. The car's actually off the ground. Let's see if we can go any further. Did you hear how long the car was running? That's how long it took me to get it in. Look at guys, even the wife's impressed. Show me how impressed you are.
I'm pretty impressed, babe.
Tell me about it.
Stop it.
Tell me how impressed you are.
I'm super impressed that you got the car in the garage.
You guys, this is an absolutely monumental moment for the R8, for myself, for you guys, and for the channel. This is the very first time the R8 has ever been inside my garage, and it's because my driveway is so steep, I just never thought that it was possible. And honestly, I think getting the R8 into the garage was actually harder than achieving the ability to buy an R8, because I never wanted to scratch it, but look, it didn't scratch. Well, I'm gonna go back and roll the tape and make sure it didn't scratch, but whew, success. Okay, so now that the R8's in the garage, we actually have to pop the back, we actually have to start the car. We have to pull the seat forward, and then, but right here, that light, that's the hatch latch. The hatch latch. We gotta take this piece off right here. I think we're gonna have to loosen this, but if you see down there, the red, those are the coil packs. You can see one, that red back there. So, shouldn't be too hard. Fingers crossed. Since we're gonna be changing the spark plugs and the O2 sensor on my car, let me be clear. My car is a 2017 Audi R8 V10 Plus, and it has a stage 1 Sheepey Race twin turbo kit on it with DS1. Let's talk about what spark plugs we're gonna be using. So I reached out to Sheepey Race. They said we're gonna be looking for some NGK, some NGK plugs, and the part number is BKR9EIX. That's the NGK part number, or the stock number is 2669. There we go, that's the part number right there. And then as far as the O2 sensor goes, I just reached out to the dealership and I was able to get an OEM O2 sensor, and that's what we're gonna be replacing the current O2 sensor with. Another thing too is here's the ice box. This helps keep the air intake temperatures low. And so I don't know if you guys can see, I'm gonna just kind of top this off a little bit, and I'm literally just using some distilled water that I got from Walmart. we go, much better. All right, so the very first thing that I did is I started removing this side carbon fiber trim piece. You can see this one over here is still in place. This basically covers, you know, the sides. Okay, I had to remove this piece and this piece. So I took that out on this side. That kind of gives me access to 4. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5 is way up in there, so I'm gonna have to figure that one out. All right, so let me show you how this contraption works. So we take our spark plug and we take our gap measuring tool. In this case, we're gonna do 0.022 millimeters, and we put it right in between those two pieces, and then there we go. Then we just tighten this. We don't want to go too tight, but just enough. And then once we go just enough, we loosen it, we pull this out, and boom, perfect measurement. This thing is awesome. It'll save you a lot of time and headache if you're trying to gap your spark plugs. Okay, now that we've got our spark plugs gapped, I went ahead and I replaced the first one just so I can make sure I got it right before I'm going to show you how to do this one. And basically what you have to do is there's 2 screws right here, and you have to remove both of those screws so that way this becomes loose. And then there's a little latch right here that you have to get your screwdriver into and kind of push down, and you do that on all 5. And then once all of them are loose, you have to wiggle this down, and it just kind of slides off all of them at once. And then the coil packs are loose. So once you get to that point, you just grab the coil pack, and I don't know if there's a specific tool, but you just kind of have to grab it and yank it out. Okay, I had to put the camera down because I had to use both hands, but I was able to grab this, wiggle it loose, and it just kind of pops right up and out. So this is the coil right here. Then once the coil is out, just get our wrench in here, our socket. What's good is these aren't too tight. And then I just sit and unscrew. And there we have it. It doesn't actually look too bad, which is good to see. It's actually probably one of the cleanest looking spark plugs I've ever taken out of a car, which is a really good sign considering it's twin turbo. So then we take our spark plug, we pop it into our 5/8 socket, and then what I like to do is I like to bring this around like this. So you just get it nice and finger tight. Just be patient. And we want to make sure that we're consistent with this. So I don't have a torque wrench this size. So what we do is we get it finger tight. It obviously won't go any further. Take your wrench, put it on the socket extension, and we're going to go a 1/4 turn tighter. And that's it. And it was actually a pain in the ass to do that while holding a camera. So I'm gonna do the rest of the driver's side spark plugs, and then I'll let you know if I run into anything else while I'm doing the driver's side, and then we'll switch over to the passenger side. So I was able to get this whole side done. The challenging part was, you see this red right here? That's another spark plug. So it's just challenging to kind of work your way through it, but just be patient, take your time, and you can definitely do it. So then once you get all the spark plugs done, you gotta get this piece back into all of them, and since it's connected, it kind of has to pop into all of them at the exact same time. Otherwise it like teeters a little bit, so that was a little bit of a challenge. And then just getting these 2 bolts back on. So now that I got the driver's side complete, I'm gonna start working on the passenger side, and we'll see if we come across any other difficulties. Quick tip, something that I just learned is this right here, the coolant reservoir is kind of in the way of these last 2 spark plugs. So what you have to do is unbolt 1 bolt right here, and then there's another bolt. You can't see it right now because I zip tied this out of the way, but there's a bolt like about right here or so, and then this little nub right here sits in this hole right here. So basically, once you unscrew the 2 bolts, pull it out of here, and then also you see this little like hose thing right here. This right here was connected to it, so it's full of coolant. So I disconnected it, I mounted it right here, and then I basically just zip tied this whole thing to this bracket right here, and it kind of got it up and out of the way for me, so now I can actually access the spark plugs. So I'm on this last plug down here, and it just keeps hitting this bracket, right? So this is the bracket that we talked about that holds the coolant reservoir. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to remove this. However, it's actually not that bad. So if you look right here, this bracket has like a flap right here. You lift up this flap, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts under there. So just unscrew those 4 bolts, take this bracket out, and then it'll make it a lot easier to just work and get this last spark plug done. So I'm gonna do that right now and knock this one out. All right, so now that we got this last one completed, we put this, I don't even know what to call it, this spark plug wire rail back into all 5 spark plug coils, and then we screw these in. I unfortunately dropped this one way down into the abyss, so it's not coming back. Try not to do that, but yeah, so we screw those in. Then we do everything in reverse. So then we're gonna wanna put this bracket back on. We're gonna wanna connect the ball back onto the bracket, and then we'll pretty much be done with that as far as spark plugs go. And then we'll wanna obviously put the trim pieces back on, but before that, I'm gonna start working on my O2 sensor, which will require me to take this off, this plate underneath it, and then I should have access to the O2 sensor, so that's next.